Good morning. This is your instructor, Ann Teed, and I am excited about this video because I've been breaking down lesson planning into the who, what, where, when, and now I want to really go into some of the things that you really need to have clarity on before you write a lesson plan. And since I've been in this business of the educational business for so many years, I see, or I have been observing and fighting against some errors that keep happening in the planning for student teaching. Now, being a supervisor out in schools all over the place and seeing new student teachers faltering, continuing to falter on objectives, and where do they, that's your launch point of what you're going to be teaching your students. I want to really focus on that today. So I happen to be cleaning out my files and moving things around in my professional library in my office at home, and I came across in this one filing cabinet really incredible little pieces of paper. I have them all here that will help me today articulate what you need to think about. Now, I will try to give credit to who gave me these papers. I go to a lot of NYSADA conferences, and teachers give you handouts, as well as colleagues at the different universities that I've taught. We all share paperwork so that we're part of a team, part of delivering the curriculum to our students. So a lot of this stuff didn't come from my pen and paper or my computer, but that's who we are as teachers. We are always sharing information, and there's a lot online right now that you can pull from, but I want to take my expertise and really share with you how I think that the objective component of lesson planning is where we falter. That's where we kind of slide through the mud, and if we get that, then I think the rest will help us in being a teacher for some longevity over the years. I talked about that in the who, that who is the student who's going to maybe be in your classroom from first grade to fifth grade, and how we are giving them the skills and the knowledge and the abilities because they've been developmentally and sequentially through those years with us. So the first thing I want to talk about is objectives. A lot of times in the arts, we are the warm and fuzzy. They make beautiful things, don't they? They're special. Oh, it's expression. And we don't give ourselves the value that the other disciplines have, math and science. And we are the STEM. We are the STEAM and the STEM of all of those. The arts are math and science and history and human mankind. We are the history of man and all the knowledge and all the things that are around us. So how could we not be validated within all the other subjects? So we have to make sure we're very, very careful in how we use education and lesson planning and curriculum development to be very solid, just like science and math. I think that's why I really find objectives and being very observable and accessible important for us, because we have such a wealth, an overwealth of information that we try to teach. And then as certified teachers, we are K through 12 or pre-K through 12 in many states. And that's absurd to think that this one individual will know all the skills and abilities in art history, from cave art to contemporary, and science and art and all the different things. The artists, the mathematical within art, making colors and so. Think about it. It is such a big base of knowledge and skills and techniques. So we have to find some way to format it for the who of who we're teaching. And I talked about the administrators and the district. So let's just take it as being able to jump in at a certain point. Well, your school will have, hopefully will have, a curriculum that they have said, this is what goes with our students, our environment. You know, rural may be different than inner city. And it's true. Curriculum is the basis of the information and the skills and everything that a district is saying their whole schools, all their faculty and everybody are concentrating in giving to their students. So what is the arts component as an equal partner to math and science and language and all the other disciplines that are out there? So a curriculum, I just want to read a couple of these. This is a framework for curriculum planning, and it just goes through our building blocks. Our building blocks are principles and design, right? Principles and elements. That's kind of our building blocks. And that's our go-to all the time. And from that, there are branches and roots and different things that we can go to within that. And that's where curriculum has to kind of narrow it down. So under this framework, we have drawing as a skill base, and a whole list of things under drawing that could be part of your curriculum. Collage and shape, painting and color. Now this is only one curriculum that was listed. Printmaking, clay, personal heritage that has identity and family heritage, community, the larger world, the future, and imagination. That's one district's outline of what they are saying. They don't have computer arts on here. They don't have, fashion design. They don't have, this is their basics. So each curriculum guide is going to be different. And I want to go into, and keep that in mind, so whatever the district has or whatever you might have to develop will be in tune with pulling from this vast amount of information and skills and knowledge, and from cave art to whatever, what your district says is important in the development of a child's growth from pre-K to 12th grade. So this one here now lists by the domain of painting. I'm going to start with, it has painting and drawing, and what's another one here? It just says painting and drawing. So this was for a particular, I believe, high school course. And under painting, I'm just going to take this one so that you can see. The assignments for learning under painting could be for that year in the teacher's decisions in making units and lessons, could be the review of color theory, realism, impressionism, cubism, constructivism, surrealism, abstract, pop, watercolor, landscape, seascape, still life, portraiture. And there's more. So wow, think of a student coming in and all those choices that you have to decide is important. Maybe they're only taking one class at the high school at studio art, or maybe they are going to go into the arts, or they're going to get their concentration in high school. What are they going to have out of that whole list? All of them? Some of them? That depends on how the school and the curriculum is based up. Let's look under drawing. And this is, again, drawing and painting course outline, all the potentials that could be for teaching drawing. Line study, form, texture, value, space, shape, color, contour, rhythm, unity, emphasis, pattern, movement, balance, figure drawing, still life, pastels, landscape, portrait, perspective, 2D and 3D, and it goes on. Think of all those skill sets, all that knowledge, all the technique that's embedded. And if you were listening to that, you heard a lot of our elements and principles embedded in that. So those two pieces of paper, I don't know where I got them from. In many of the courses, I've taught at 4 different colleges. So I'm going to post these. They're pretty generic. I'm going to post these along with this video. Here is an outline for a high school teacher for studio and art. That one course that they might have to take to graduate high school, a student. I'm going to concentrate on drawing, but this does have drawing, painting, sculpture, and commercial design. Those are the 4 outlines for studio design, studio in art that a high school teacher can pull from. Drawing is line and contour, shape, perspective and space, value, shading, form, portrait, figure, animals, abstract, artists, other. All right? So drawing. So now you have that whole thing. Now go back to lesson planning. We have to pull from these, pull units, then pull lesson plans. All right. So that was drawing. I want to just list here is sculpture. That was part of that. Here's some potential types of projects. Assemblage. And under assemblage, if you don't know assemblage, it's, you know, that building of three-dimensional. It has paper, cardboard, wood, found materials, wire, mobiles, stabiles, just under that one. Second one is casting, and it has plaster and clay. Third is under this sculpture types of projects, carving, wood, clay, plaster, styrofoam. The fourth is modeling, clay, paper mache, paper, wire. The fifth is architecture, exterior, interior, facade, historical, contemporary. And the sixth one is reproduction, historical and contemporary, blah, 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 blah. This is what we go to, our body of knowledge as an art educator. All right, and I have more things I'm going to be posting that outline. This is Sculpture 1 and 2 at the high school level, assemblage, casting, carving, modeling, architecture. So this is more detailed of that last one. All right, let's zoom in on one of them. So we're going to, and this is focusing on line, one of the basic elements. And you see line being taught through all the grades from the beginning. What does a child start with? They do the bang dots and then they start line, that jaggedy line as a little infant going into toddler. So here is a paper I'm going to also post about all the things to think of about line. We draw, and if we even look at a painting, we're looking at how the artist used line. So these are different things to be thinking of when we're teaching of line. Awareness of many kinds of line: straight, curved, thick, thin, long, jagged, curly, dotted, blah, 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 more. Next one is the develop a sense of how line creates movement. So now line, an element, is going into more, is going into a principle. The next one is line can define. Line can define areas and spaces. Next one is line can connect elements on a page. Next one is line can divide elements on a page. Using curved line suggests organic quality. Line provides us with the ability to give detail. Think of all those little cross-hatchings and things and all the details within. Think of Van Gogh and how he used line within his painting to really make his artistry so rich. The next one is the character of line changes when we use different drawing materials. And the last, which there could be many more, direction of line can create mood. So we've got a lot. That's just in the element of line. Now think of, again, lesson planning. This is where we go to. We go to our building blocks. This is a lot just on line. We could teach children and young adults and high school and elders and everybody just line all the time. And it breeds into all these other things, mood and feeling and division and all kinds of things, and emphasis. All right, so is another paper here that breaks down about a particular skill. So if we're talking about using line, and I mentioned the word cross-hatching, that's using line to build up area and shading and space and all that. But what do we have about using an implement like a pencil and using line to build up other things? We have hatching. We have cross-hatching, the hatching that you cross over. We have stippling. And this is just 3 different ways we use drawing and materials and little lines and little dots. Dots are part of a line too. Remember the definition of line. Here's where math comes in. A line is between 2 points, 2 dots. All right, so I'm going to put all this stuff, and I want to go into another component. So I'm going to leave this as is, about an overview of how we approach our discipline as an equal discipline to all other disciplines, even though we're even connecting them all together. We are the STEM. We are the STEM and we are the STEAM. So I'm going to stop this, and then I'm going to do a whole separate video on just objectives. So I hope you enjoyed that. It's pretty heavy duty, and I will list all these different papers. Thanks for listening.